Hi, I'm Assisi, and if you love Traitors, boy, this is a conversation you will love. I'm joined here today with Season 2's winner, Harry Clark.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
We're going to start off by asking you a question that you've probably answered a million times before.
Yeah.
So you went into Traitors wanting to actually be a traitor. So how did you feel when Claudia first tapped you on your shoulder?
You know what? I remember this story so much and so well, actually, because beforehand, before I even went there, I actually said to like the casters and the producers, I was like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a busy life. I'm in the army.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to the castle to be a traitor, don't send me there because I don't want to be in it, because I did not want to be a faithful that bad. And I wanted to be a traitor so much that I was like, if I'm not a traitor, don't send me. Anyway, off I go to Scotland. I'm there in Inverness. And I remember our first interview with Claudia.
Yeah.
And when I tell you she is like one of the most powerful women ever, you'll be like her one day where you can interview other celebs. I'm not saying I'm a celeb, but you can interview other people. But when she interviewed me just like this, I remember I was sat there. I walked in and for some reason, like I had shaky legs. I was all nervous.
Yeah.
I got I had dragon breath, I call it, you know, when you get a dry mouth and that, and you think your breath stinks and stuff. So I did my interview, and as soon as I left, I thought she's going to hate me because I couldn't even make eye contact. I was smiling and my teeth were getting stuck.
Yeah,
and I was
nerves.
like, I was scared. I had wavy bogies. I had all this stuff going on in my mind. So I was like, there's no way she's going to choose me as a traitor. I'm a shambles. Then we sit down, obviously, at the round table.
Yeah.
We're sat there blindfolded and we're sat there for ages as well.
Tense.
Like we're literally sat there for so long. On TV, it probably looks like we're sat there for like 10 minutes. It felt like we were sat there for hours, and you hear her just walking round and round and round. And at that moment in time, my heart was beating out of my chest. And I was like, I actually hoped that she didn't choose me to be a traitor. As much as I wanted to be one, I was like, in that moment, I was like, I can't do this. Because if I take my blindfold off, I'm just going to start crying. Or I'm like, if someone calls me a traitor, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm really sorry. You know, like, because it was so intense. But then she came round and she obviously touched me on my shoulder. And there's a moment where I actually licked my lips on camera. And everyone always takes the mick out of me for doing that. I actually licked my lips because I was smiling so much. And where I had dragon breath, my lip got stuck over my teeth. So I was licking my teeth to try and wet it so my lip would come back down. Otherwise, I'm going to take my blindfold off and be stuck like that. But then when she chose me, I was so excited. Like all of the nerves went, all of the pressure went, because then I just knew what I had to go on and do.
When you took off your blindfold, I thought you actually kept a very straight face.
Do you think?
But all of a sudden, Diane started being like, I think you're a traitor. And were you like...
Yeah, well.
Trying.
Yeah. I always say, like, when I first took that blindfold off, that first night was going to be the night I'd get caught.
Yeah.
Because it was so fresh and it just happened, so much stuff was going on in your mind.
Yeah.
So I was like, if anyone asked me if I'm a traitor, I'd probably just say yes right now. And then obviously after I took the blindfold off, I was kind of weirded out by the fact that she actually went for me straight away.
Yeah.
So it actually made me think she was one of the other traitors, because I thought what she was trying to do was try and plant seeds straight away. But obviously next to us was Zach.
Yeah.
And he openly said, like, he literally had a panic attack because it was that high and pressured environment, and like it was that scary and nerve wracking that he started breathing really loudly and uncontrollably. And someone had to ask him if he was okay. She thought it was me. But then he actually said, no, Diane, it was me. Like, it wasn't Harry. I was the one stressing. So then I was a bit like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Because then she kept saying it was me. And I was like, Dan, he's just told you it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's not me. Like, I was like, leave me alone. You know, like I always wanted to run away from her because I was like, leave me alone. But it was quite funny because something they didn't actually show on TV was after that conversation, the next day, the following day, obviously I realised Diane wasn't a traitor. So then I was like, well, that was weird that she kept coming for me.
Yeah.
So then that next day I was like, she thinks it's me and I'm going to have to get rid of her straight away. So that night you see me try and murder Diane.
Yeah.
But Paul and Nat were like, no, don't murder her because we need her in. But in the morning, she asked me, who do I think the traitor is? And I just turned around and was like, I think it's you. And obviously she was a bit like, what?
Like, why?
Yeah, like in like how she would be. She was like, what do you mean? And then I said the whole story of how you came for me straight after the round table.
Yeah.
I was just panicking, you know, like this and that. And then it completely switched her and she was like, oh, no, because I always thought she thought it was me.
Yeah.
And then she put her hand on my leg and was like, no, but I know who it is. And I was like,
And you were like,
So when I got past that, I was like, okay, I can breathe now.
yeah.
Because even after the first night, like I said, I thought I'd been caught. The
Yeah.
next morning when I spoke to her about it, that's what really made me settle down, because I was like, okay, she thinks it's someone completely different and she hasn't got a clue. So it's fine.
Yeah. So you were quite a liked person on Traitors, like not many people were against you.
Mm.
But then in episode 8, when you were doing your challenge where you needed to hit the glass with a crossbow,
Yeah.
everybody started targeting you.
Yeah, I know.
So how did that make you feel?
Do you know what it was? I think yeah, I actually felt really bad then, because what annoyed me was that I was the only one hitting every single shot.
Yeah.
You know how long it took us to break them, for everyone to hit a shot or whatever? Mate, I hit one every single time. I think I had 4 or 5 goes and hit it every single time. Everyone else was just making us lose money and money and money and money. So then when it came to it, obviously it was choosing the shield. It was like, and then choosing someone to shoot. Like, and they all just started going for my name because it was the easiest.
Yeah.
I was like, what the helly? You know, like, I was
Yeah,
like,
why me?
yeah, I'm like, why me? Because I could just say that about any of your pieces of glass, because it was easy and I would have just hit theirs, you know?
Yeah.
But no, to be fair, again, I played on that a lot. So here comes acting Harry. Because when they did that, I acted as if I was really annoyed.
Yeah.
Because I wanted them to know how much that actually hurt me. Because I really need a shield. Because I'm actually so scared I'm going to get murdered tonight.
Yeah.
Which was all a facade. Inside, I was like, I don't really care because I don't need a shield.
Yeah.
And I'm going to know who gets the shield. So I'm going to know who not to murder.
Yeah.
But at the time, when they started going for me, I really played on that. And that's all the Traitors was knowing the right moments to pick, okay, I need to ramp up the emotion or I need to ramp it down. And that's what I seemed to do. So that's all that mission was.
Yeah.
So I didn't really actually care they was going for me. It just gave me a perfect opportunity to make me look more of a faithful, I guess.
So this is a bit of an interesting question. I would like you to tell me 3 things that not many people would actually know about you.
3 things.
Yeah.
Okay, firstly, well, I'll leave the best till last, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so firstly, I'm a really fussy eater.
Yeah.
So I only ever eat chicken nuggets and chips.
Fair enough.
So there's nothing more to it, really, is there?
Yeah.
I love a chicken strip and chip. Mackie D's is my go-to.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to lose weight. I eat chicken nuggets and rice. But yeah, I'm a really fussy eater, so I don't like any sauce. My food can't touch each other. So when I was a kid, if I had spaghetti bolognese without sauce, I'd have the mince and pasta apart.
Yeah.
Now I've grown my big boy boots on. I've put my big boy boots on, and I can actually mix the pasta and the mince. Still no sauce though. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is, which is quite a cool fact actually, which some people may know now.
Yeah.
But before I obviously went to the Traitors,
Yeah.
I was in the army for nearly 7 years.
Yeah.
And I was an avionics technician.
Ooh.
So I used to fix helicopters for a living.
Ooh.
Which sounds it was kind of mad, to be honest. But yeah, so I used to do the wiring on helicopters. And actually the first time I ever flown in a helicopter was the Traitors final mission. So I'd worked on helicopters for 5 years before the Traitors final and hadn't flown in a helicopter ever. But I always say it's probably because I knew I'd worked on them. So I thought, someone else can get in it because I don't trust myself. But actually, no, it was just because we never had the option to fly in the helicopters. So yeah, that's kind of a second crazy fact. And the third one's a really weird one. It's my party trick.
No.
I actually am obsessed with sharks. If you can't tell, I've got shark tattoos. Yeah. And being dyslexic as I am, I could not tell you the alphabet. I always get muddled up in the elemento bit. Like in the middle, it always throws me off. But I can tell you a shark species beginning with every letter of the alphabet, which is the weirdest thing in the world. So do it. Go do it quickly. You can give me any letter of the alphabet, apart from X or U, because they're like scientific ones and I can never pronounce it.
C.
C, carpet shark.
Oh.
Give me
What
a
about
random
B?
one. B, basking shark.
A.
A, angelfish.
Y.
Y, yellow Qatar shark.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
weird.
very impressive.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So now let's talk about one of the intense moments that I personally found whilst watching The Traitors via my TV.
Mm-hmm.
So Diane, Paul and Evie were made to get into coffins at their funeral.
Yeah.
How did it actually feel being there in person? Because it looked so stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful. Funny thing as well, Paul's coffin was about 10 feet longer because Paul's about 8 foot tall in real life. I'm not even joking. Like, you'd think I'm tall. Paul's like, I think he's like 6'6" or 6'7".
Wow.
So he's like a waste of basketball talent, basically. That's what I say to every tall person. But so he had a longer coffin than everyone else. Don't realise how they made it so quickly. But yeah, no, it was so intense. The most intense part was the breakfast bit beforehand. So the day as a whole was so mentally draining because the whole thing was intense. Because when we came down to breakfast, we had obviously poisoned Diane the night before with the chalice.
Yeah.
So we're there chilling in breakfast and Diane walks in. And we've all looked at each other like, did we do it wrong?
Yeah.
What did we not poison her the right way? Was we supposed to pour it up her nose or in her ears or something like that?
Yeah.
Like was she supposed to inhale it or something? So then we were like, what is going on? But again, it's just the traitors, so you never know what's going on. Claudia walks in and explains to us someone's been poisoned. Then the whole bit was just intense because it was just a weird vibe. Like
no one's actually gone.
Yeah, no one's actually gone, but we know it must be Diane. But at the same time, we're then doing this challenge where to win money, we have to guess the right people. So we can't look too much like traitors. We have to try and work out who's been poisoned. And at the same time, each time we got somewhere, there was a weird old event. Like there was a choir dressed in all black.
Yeah.
And then there was like tombstones. And then there was like a memorial thing for Tracy. It was like, what's going on? All of that was intense. But the most intense thing for me was I'm really allergic to horses. So while everyone was stressing about who had been murdered or who had been poisoned, I was there sneezing and coughing. Couldn't stop rubbing my eyes because they had the biggest horses. You remember the biggest horses in the world? Like they were real horses. They were like giants pulling the carriage along. Then anyway,
Really
we get there. We get there to the end, have the coffins, and then have the roses scene.
Yeah.
And to be fair, for me, it was quite funny because looking back on it now was like, I remember me and Paul just like laughing at each other all the time because I always remember seeing him at certain points. He used to like do that like with his face where he would be like, he's about to cry. And I would just like inside be laughing so much because I'm like, he's such an actor and overdoing it. And like when he was getting in the coffin, he was going like, I know it's me. And it was like, it's not you. Like you're just doing too much. And I just remember laughing at him all the time. And then on top of that, after realizing that Diane was Ross's mum and I had murdered her, made him throw a rose in her coffin. And then when he came in to tar it, I was like, she just needed to be put in her place. The whole experience for me was really funny, but on TV, it was intense. Yeah. And I can imagine how intense it was for all of the faithfuls.
Yeah.
But for me, obviously, I was a traitor. So for traitors, it was easy. It's just acting again.
Yeah. So just like me, you were dyslexic.
Yep.
And sometimes my brain's working 1,000 miles per hour.
Same.
So how did you do so well on Traitors? And did you have any like major challenges with this?
Well, I think being dyslexic's a superpower anyway.
Yeah.
I always say, just like you said, our brain works at 1,000 miles an hour, but it also works backwards. And I think that's what happened on the Traitors. Was like, I would say my brain was working backwards compared to everyone else's, clearly, because it just felt like I was in a different game than everyone else.
Yeah.
What they were stressing about, thinking about, was completely different to what I was stressing and thinking about. It felt like I was always like one step ahead, but at the same time, I might have been one step behind.
Yeah.
Because I was always there like, what's actually going on? Looking around, looking at the cameras like, this is amazing. Well, everyone's going, who's trying to murder us? I'm there like, la-di-da-di-da, like floating through. But then when it came to the high pressure situations or the way to connect with people, the way to understand people, the way to feel emotion, the way to talk, that was all down to me being dyslexic, I think, and my superpower. And how when I was dyslexic and being in the army, I found certain ways to overcome it. And I think overcoming something like that and living with it and then creating them certain ways of how you get around it makes you actually really smart.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I would always tell you that I'm not the smartest person. I would tell you I'm not smart at all. I have no general knowledge. I didn't even know that there was an up north before I left for the army.
Yeah.
So I was 16 years old when I went to the army. And this is a funny story, actually. So I was 16 years old when I went to the army. The first person I met was a northerner. He came up to me and he goes, "Hey up, lad, where are you from?" And I looked at him like, what? This guy's like a monster. I've never heard an accent before in my life because I'm from West London.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What do you mean? And he was like, "I'm a northerner. What about you?" In his northern accent. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, what does that even mean? And he was like, well, you, like, whereabouts are you from? And I was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm a Westerner. And he looked at me like, what? Because obviously I thought it was you're either north, south, west or east London.
Yeah.
So I've told him I'm a Westerner, which means actually you're from like Africa or something. I
Yeah.
think I don't even know still to this day. So then he looked at me and said, "Well, you're the thickest southerner I've ever met." And then that was my first encounter with a northerner.
Yeah.
So when I went into the Traitors, like I said, I had no general knowledge really, and I had no smartness about that. But the life skills you learn while living with dyslexia is what is your superpower, which is what makes you smarter, I think. So when I was in the Traitors, the biggest challenge I faced was spelling everyone's name on the chalkboard, I think.
Yeah.
Because I got everyone's name wrong every single time.
Yeah. So just like me, you're a Christian. So how
Mhm.
does God play a part in your everyday life?
Good question. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I think God is very prominent in my life because
Yeah.
obviously I was born into a religious family, but God is also prominent because I make it prominent. You know, like I feel like, again, it's my armor, it's my shield. It's something that strengthens me. So if I've ever felt vulnerable in my life or weak, at my weakest has been when I've without faith. So when I've prayed and when I feel close to God, I feel my strongest. So yeah, God is in my life from day to day, everything. You know, I could pray, and not even in the sense of where I'm doing the sign of the cross and praying and asking for forgiveness and saying thanks. I could just pray when I'm in the car. I do it in my mind all the time. Like, I could be doing it right now. You know, thanks God, this is so sick. Like doing this today, and this has been a great day. When I'm driving my car, I'm just thinking about things that I'm going through. And I'm just talking to him as if he's a mate. And I think, yeah, that's my religion to me. And having God as a mate, he's one of the best mates you could have.
So there are lots of people out there with dyslexia who feel like they're not good enough
Mm.
because they can't spell correctly
Yeah.
or like they find it hard to maybe read. So what would you say to those people?
I'd say, why are you stressing?
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you stressing? I can't spell now. I'm 24 years old. I could never spell my whole life, but I've still been able to go on the Traitors and win it.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think with everything that may feel like an uphill battle, you're always going to have a downslope on the end of it. So like, for example, if you struggle with reading, just like I do, if you struggle with spelling, just like I do, there's always something that you're going to be better at.
Yeah.
So especially in school, for people that are still in school with dyslexia, you know, I was rubbish with English, like terrible with English. I don't actually think I could tell you one good thing I learned from English, like spelling, reading. But then that meant I loved something more. So like
Yeah.
PE and music. And I'm not saying you don't give it a go. I tried hard in English, and you should try hard in everything you do.
Yeah.
But for people that are stressing about spelling and reading, just find happiness in what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If you can't read, you can't spell, you keep giving it a go and you try your hardest, but also hold on to the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
Because I bet you'll be better at something that you didn't even realize. My mum
Yeah.
always says that. So because I was so bad at English, she believes it what made me really good at maths.
Yeah.
Like, it was really weird. Like, I couldn't, same with music. So I used to play the violin in church, actually, which could have been a crazy fact because no one actually knows that. So I used to play the violin in church every Sunday, to the point where I was as good, like I could play in an orchestra. Couldn't read an English paragraph, couldn't do a PPE paragraph if they're still a thing, but I could read music on a page like it was English to me. And that was the coolest thing ever.
This question you've probably talked about many, many times, but let's talk about the final round table. So it was pretty intense. There were 4 of you.
Yeah.
Then it just got lowered down.
Mm-hmm.
So Molly leaned over and said quietly, "It's not you." And then you replied with,
Oh,
"No,
gosh.
it isn't." Somehow still being able to keep a straight face.
Yeah, I know. That still makes me cringe to this day.
Yeah. And then you won the Traitors.
Yeah.
And then Molly was there with you. And then she was like, I'm a faithful. I've always been a faithful. And you were like, "I've been from the start a traitor."
Yeah, yeah.
How did that
You
make you
don't have to make me feel bad. You don't have to make me feel bad and repeat everything I've done, because it still makes me cringe and like still makes me go, "Oh, yeah, that is so harsh."
Yeah.
No, but do you know what? Like, the reason I actually said I have, and from the, I can't even say it now. The reason I said I have, and from the beginning, being a traitor, wasn't because I wanted to like rub it in her face and be like, "Haha, I won." It was more because I was so relieved that it was over.
Yeah.
And I also wanted, like, I also actually appreciated what I had done, because if you look at the traitors across the world, there's very rarely a traitor who is a traitor at the beginning and goes all the way through and
Yeah.
wins it by themselves. I think I'm one of the only ones to do it, like worldwide.
Yeah.
Normally it's a traitor that wins, but they're recruited halfway through. So when I got to the final, it wasn't actually anything to do with Molly. Like when I said them words, it was
Yeah.
more like, I can't believe I've actually just done that. So I was like, I actually have been from the beginning a traitor. So I said it that way.
And you've won.
And I won. And then also for Molly, like I've said, like, yeah, she was amazing. She told me not to worry about it. And if she was in the same, all that someone needed to say, which is what she said, was, if I was in the same position, I would have done exactly the same thing. Because if you think of it, really,
it's just a game.
Yeah, and even if people in the public hated me for what I had done, if you had a chance to win 100 grand and all you had to do was lie one last time after doing it for multiple weeks in a row, would you do it for 100 grand?
Yeah.
Or would you say no because I want that person to win it? You wouldn't, because then you've got to ring your family and your friends, and you've got to watch yourself go so close to the end and not just finish it off. So I felt terrible. Thanks for your question. I felt terrible, but I also learned to make myself feel good about it because of how lovely everyone else was, including Molly.
So, how could you describe the Traitors experience overall? How was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally impossible to describe as such, because I wish I could have, broken it up into shards and put it in a bag and just gave people a piece of it so you could feel what it's actually like. Because again, we're up there and we have so many different emotions running through, and we're up there, and it's just insane. Like, I think the best way to put it is like, imagine trying to dream something that's impossible.
Yeah.
That's what the Traitors was for me. Like, the Traitors experience for me was a dream that I didn't even know was possible.
Yeah.
So trying to dream the impossible is something you can't even do.
Yeah.
So like that's what the experience was like, because it was like a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
For a lottery I didn't even know I was playing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know when I'd got onto the Traitors, I didn't know that I essentially had a ticket to this game that was going to lead to so many people loving it, so many people watching, and to the life that I've had after, which was insane. You know, I'm here being interviewed by you now. So it was like, literally, I always say the best way to put it was a dream that was impossible to dream. And it was like playing the lottery with a ticket I never knew I'd won.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Thank you.
It's been really fun. And good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you. Okay, before we end, can I ask you a question quick?
Yes.
Are you Team Traitor or Team Faithful?
Team Traitor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now the interview can end and we can still be friends.